What if a single piece of paper sitting on a desk in Washington, D.C. held the power to completely change your financial future? We aren't talking about a lottery ticket or a sketchy internet rumor. We are talking about actual federal law. Right now, a massive wave of excitement is crashing through the crypto community because of a breakthrough in the US Senate. Right? Our news right here states pundit to XRP holders. The Clarity Act will make a lot of people rich. Right? A top crypto pundit, John Squire, just took to X and dropped a statement that has everyone talking. He told his followers bluntly that this new law, known as the Clarity Act, is going to make a lot of people rich. When a prominent voice makes a claim that direct, the entire market stops and listens. This isn't just about small price pumps anymore. This is about a complete rewiring of how global wealth moves. So let's break down exactly what is happening in the Senate right now and why the landscape for XRP just shifted. Right? Now let's start with our very first question about what is the Clarity Act and why is it causing a frenzy. To understand why people are losing their minds over John Squire's post right here, we have to look at what this bill actually does. The Digital Asset Market Clarity Act is a massive piece of legislation designed to finally draw a line in the sand. It clearly dictates which digital assets are regulated by the SEC and which ones fall under the CFTC. The latest version has expanded heavily, adding strict new rules on stablecoin rewards, insider trading protections, and actual safety nets for exchange bankruptcies. Alright, in my opinion, for a long time, the biggest problem in crypto hasn't been the tech. It's been the constant guessing game with regulators. My view is that the Clarity Act is the exact blueprint the industry needs to grow up. John Squire is right to point out how big this is because once you remove the fear of sudden lawsuits, the massive pool of institutional money can finally flow into assets like XRP without looking back. It turns a Wild West market into a legitimate financial playground. Now, how did the Senate fight over this bill affect the market? The bill didn't just slide through Congress easily. The Senate Banking Committee recently advanced the Clarity Act in a tense 15-9 bipartisan vote. Right? So let's highlight this part. It was a fierce battleground. Some politicians, like Elizabeth Warren, tried to introduce heavy amendments that could have severely harmed XRP and other digital assets. Fortunately for investors, most of those restrictive amendments were either voted down or thrown out completely. Immediately following that committee victory, the market threw a party and XRP shot up to $1.54 for the first time in months. Watching politicians try to crush asset utility and fail is one of the most satisfying things for a long-term investor. In my opinion, the jump to $1.54 was just a small taste of what happens when regulatory clarity becomes a reality. The fact that the bill survived hostile amendments shows that the momentum behind digital assets is becoming too powerful for Washington to stop. It proves that the demand for a clear system is stronger than political resistance. Alright? Now, why is the crypto community completely split on this law? Even though pundits like Kenny Nguyen, right, let's highlight this part, Kenny heavily backed John Squire's claim, calling the wealth generation a flat-out fact not everyone is celebrating. A massive debate has ignited across social media. Critics are pushing back hard, arguing that the real winners won't be everyday builders or retail investors. Instead, they believe the bill is a golden ticket for highly paid lawyers and compliance consultants who will charge millions to help firms navigate the new rules. Now, there is always going to be a skepticism when governments get involved in crypto. So my take on this is simple. Yes, compliance cost will go up, but that is the price of admission for global adoption. You can't expect Wall Street to pour trillions of dollars into a system that has no rules. While some people are complaining about corporate overhead, the smart money is looking at the bigger picture, which is the mass liquidity. Now, are we trading through decentralization for centralized bank control? The deepest concern raised by the community hits right at the core of crypto philosophy. Several commenters warned that by praising this bill, investors are completely ignoring the dark side. They argue that crypto was built to take power away from big banks, but the Clarity Act might actually hand the keys of the digital economy right back to centralized financial institutions, defeating the entire purpose of digital currency. Alright, in my opinion, this is a harsh truth that a lot of people don't want to hear. So in my view, we are seeing a massive shift from the original cyberpunk dream of total decentralization toward a hybrid model of institutional utility. While it might upset the purist, the reality of the situation is that global settlement assets need institutional integration to reach astronomical valuations. If you want XRP to solve multi-trillion-dollar liquidity problems, you have to accept that banks will be part of that equation. Alright? The dust is finally settling on the initial arguments, and even major industry figures like Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, who initially fought hard against certain parts of the bill, have seen the writing on the wall. The crypto industry has reached a strong consensus, and the momentum behind this legislation is undeniable. The bill still has to pass the full Senate, align perfectly with the House version, and get the final presidential signature before it becomes the law of the land. So in conclusion, the Clarity Act represents the ultimate crossroad for the digital asset space. John Squire's prediction that this bill will create immense wealth isn't just empty hype. It is backed by the reality of what happens when capital meets legal safety. While the debate over decentralization will continue to rage on, the structural foundation for XRP is being built right now in real time. The era of regulatory chaos is coming to an end, and the era of massive utility is officially beginning. Alright, and this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one. Or you might as well just check this next or suggested recommended video right here.